Hey, welcome back to the Gunpla Network. I'm Murdoch, and we're going to do an in-depth look at the high-grade Messala today. But first, it's time for a segue to our sponsor. The sponsor for this review is none other than Canadian Gundam. Looking for that next kit or tool to complete your collection? Canadian Gundam's got you covered. With a vast selection of Gunpla, plamo kits, paints, and tools, you're sure to find what you're looking for. And then you have their flat rate shipping across North America and private warehouse options. But wait, there's more. Take advantage of their discount code Gunpla Network for 10% off your entire order at checkout. Okay, so similarly to what I've done in previous reviews, here's a few tidbits about the Messala. This machine just radiates Black Air Force energy. Alright, so the biggest misconception among fans, including me, hopefully not just me, is that Messala is a transforming mobile suit. Not quite true. It's actually a transforming mobile armor. There is a difference, but that difference is mainly that it's more meant to be piloted in its vehicle mobile armor mode than it is in its humanoid form. Honestly, otherwise its proportions conform to standard mobile suit sizes of the time, if it's leaning on a little bit of the big side. One of the big plot points about the machine is the guy who made it, Paptimus Shirako, claimed he designed it to skim Jupiter's atmosphere and escape its gravity well. Doing some quick math and consulting the mighty Google, if the Messala is known to have a mass of about 96,000 kilograms, or 96 metric tons in freedom speak, you need at least 2.5 times your mass as sustained thrust in order to get out of that situation. Also meaning, in mobile armor form, Messala should be outputting acceleration numbers that reflect that in something to the effect of 2.5, or more specifically, 2.53 Gs. That would mean its combined thrust would have to be over 243,000 kilograms of thrust. The big rocket thrusters on its rocket pods are rated to have 16,000 kilograms of thrust each, which is literally only enough for 1 G's worth. And they don't list what the big central one off its butt or any of the others might do. It's kind of a big plot hole. Probably filled with space magic. Alright, mystery acceleration rant aside, this kit just screams menace. Even its first appearance in Zeta, it's bullying everybody. It's disabling Bright's orbital passenger shuttle, it's putting the screws to Camille and Quattro, and then it just buggers off without letting them get any chance at touching it or, any real reprisals. And that bad attitude covers every part of this kit. So, articulation, how is it? Well, due to its own unique design, most of its own body parts get in their own way. The arms can pivot at the shoulder joints, and the shoulder joints themselves are removable for the transformation gimmick. More on that later. You can get tighter than 90-degree bends in the elbows, and the head is completely fixed, so no fancy rotating eye mechanisms like you find in a Zaku either. That being said, also part of the transformation gimmick, the entire front of the torso slides, and the backpack will swing up and goes somewhat level, kind of to act as a cowl for the head unit. The rocket pods are essentially quadruple jointed, so you can point them almost anywhere until they start touching. The claw subarm assemblies here, they're not articulated in the sense that, you have an actual multi-joint claw digits. They're just a nice cover part and the actual claw joints on ball sockets. But you can swap those out whenever. Moving to the legs, they're connected to the waist via a heavy-duty peg slot. So they're not loosey-goosey by any stretch of the imagination. At least mine weren't. But again, due to how this kit is designed, you won't be having this model do the splits. There's just too many things in the way. That being said, the knees are double jointed, so the lower legs can hyperextend, and they need to if you want to get the mobile armor pose just right. And you know, they can only do it maybe a little bit, but again, it's all because of the design of the thing. Those knee pads only let you go so far. I found the joints throughout the build to be pretty still. They hold their stuff, with the exception of the ball jointed parts in the shoulders and the ankles. This kit retains whatever pose you put it in, just bear that in mind that it has a wonky center of gravity, right, because of the backpack. That being said, it can stand on its own, but Messala here is going to look like he's hunched over. In terms of extras, you get 4 hands with this kit, 2 open expressives, and 2 holding fists with slots in them so they can hold the beam sabers. The beam sabers, which are fixed in length and can't really be stored in their lore-friendly spots under the claws. And as I mentioned, the claws aren't storable in the way we'd expect for something fancy either. Different story for this were a master grade, but it's not. But not to worry. Bandai's engineers had a no parts left behind mentality when they came up with the included stand. Much like the more recent Core Gundam kits having hidey holes in their support vessel stands for the hands and whatnot that they aren't using, the Messala's stand has a place for everything belonging to it. Whether it's the beam saber effect parts, the claws, or the set of hands you're not using, or even a singular set of transformation gimmick parts to keep things in place. It's wonderfully convenient. The build experience for this kit was interesting. I just had to paint details on it. They screamed at me. Stickers and panel liner weren't going to be enough to do this kit justice. HG Messala is one of those kits that belongs to a very small group of high grades that, while still technically being a high grade, they have size and a level of complexity to them that makes them feel closer to a master grade in terms of how they behave once you've built them. What do I mean by that? Well, for starters, yes, absolutely the sub-assembly steps will have you firmly understanding it's a high grade, right? There's no doubt there. But then you start getting all of the movable parts together, and it starts becoming a bit finicky like a master grade or a real grade, and that can make posing a bit of a challenge, especially when that massive backpack comes into play. You probably also noticed the nub scars. This kit was not designed in a way to have the gates hidden in places, so if you're not planning to airbrush it, that's something to bear in mind, because as you're seeing on this guy, they're kinda noticeable. As for the transformation sequence, in my unboxing video, somebody pointed out in the comments that this kit is a parts former. Well, I said in a response that I disagree with that assessment, and I still disagree with that assessment. And here's why. It's only a parts former in the mindset of something like the Master Grade Riga Z Custom is a parts former, if you can call it one at that even, right? It isn't really. The only parts involved with the transformation sequence on this kit are 1. Removing the hands, and 2. Swapping out the Messala's armpits. That's it. Everything else is already a moving part on the model. This isn't like the high-grade Zeta, or the Wound Ward, or the ZZ2, or others that all have a dedicated block-like thing to mount parts to and go, ta-da! Those guys are parts formers. Messala has necessary engineering shortcuts because it needs to remain a high grade. But they didn't go too far, which personally I like. In terms of shelf presence, have a look here. It's intimidating the Mark II super hard. Scirocco's machines are so wild and different compared to most other mobile suit designs in Gundam, they stand out almost all the time. Plus, it just screams menace to me. And for size, I have it standing here with the Mark II and my prize high grade, Heisenflay 2 Raw, in Titan's deployment colors. And while he isn't quite as tall as the Queen Black Rabbit here, he certainly comes close. At least if you count the rocket pods. And the one contemporary sized machine from Zeta I don't have would probably be the Bond Dock. At least at head height. So, who's this kit for? Well, diehard Zeta fans, this one is definitely for you. Being a diehard Zeta fan myself, I jumped at the opportunity to review this kit. Yes, it's a little finicky once you have it all together, but this isn't anything new when it comes to transformable models. On the flip side, it's not remotely as finicky as the Zeta or Unicorn. So, in conclusion, I mean, I love this thing. It's just, it radiates Black Air Force energy. I know I say that, but I mean, look at it. It's a menace. And it even acts like one on screen. Is it worth its price tag? I think so, especially if you can get it right after it's been reprinted. Resellers might be asking a little bit too much on this one. But other than that, I don't know. I love it. Tell me what you think about it in the comments. Until next time, I'm Murdoch, and on behalf of the Gunpla Network, keep building.